found sports.
I found my passion.
I found family.
I found my calling. I found a place to call home. Discover what you can find at Marietta by visiting marietta.edu today.
Coming up today on NewsCenter 15, we've got some stories.
And they're going to be great.
I wish I knew what stories they were, but boy, when you hear about them, they're going to be awesome.
You and we will hear about these stories.
NewsCenter 15 starts now. Hello and welcome to a fun edition of NewsCenter 15. I'm Ethan Brown.
And I'm Jessica Hill.
I think this is topping our news this afternoon.
I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be great.
I will cherish this. The beloved series from HBO was a record breaker for the debut. That's interesting. Got some good stuff here. Yeah. Okay. Disney recently released a new streaming service that will launch before the holidays this year, specifically in November. The cost will be much lower than the competitor, Netflix. Disney will be charging $6.99, while Netflix charges $13 a month. While Disney will have a more centered focus on what they provide users to stream, they will be announcing more at an event on some unspecified date. Okay, moving on. I guess we're going to take a look at the weather. The weather's been kind of cool.
Yes, it has been getting chillier.
Here to give us a first look at the weather is Landon Santini.
Well, guys, hello. Well, guys, you weren't kidding about it being rather chilly this morning. In fact, it's kind of a bit chilly out now. Right now, it feels like about 56 degrees outside with partly cloudy conditions. So that could be because we had rain over the weekend. The UV is going to be rather high, so wear sunglasses, especially if you're sensitive to sunlight. And the air quality is rather good today. So good that the winds are going to be running about the south at 7 miles per hour, and the humidity is about 65%. Now, again, that's because we had an abundance of precipitation and rain over the past weekend, so there's still a little bit of the residue of that left over, which is where the clouds come from. But for the most part of this week, starting today and up to about Thursday, we're going to be warming up a little bit. But how long is that going to last? Because we seem to be fluctuating in temperatures. We've been doing that for quite a while this past couple of weeks. We'll talk a little bit more about that in detail when I return later on in the program for the 5-day forecast. But until then, have a good day, everyone, and back to you guys at the desk.
And thank you, Landon. The moment all of the 90s babies have been waiting for, a Hannah Montana auction, including costumes and props. Some things included in the auction are items from her tours and outfits that she wore on the show, which was around from 2006 to 2011. The auction is for a good cause where all the proceeds will go to the Wilder Minds charity, which helps animals at risk around the world.
And the family that really does it all. Kardashian's reality star. Kim Kardashian announced her latest endeavor that she will be taking the bar law exam in 2020. The California school is no longer required prior to taking the bar exam, so she will be studying till then. Kim is apprenticing with a law firm in San Diego while she is saying that she can do criminal law in her sleep.
Coming up, an update on the ongoing Rings trial and more.
We'll be back after this.
Please stay with us.
I never chew tobacco.
I don't drink much.
Never smoked a cigarette in my life.
HPV. Isn't that about cervical cancer?
What does that have to do with oral cancer?
HPV? Didn't know that.
Hey, Major, did you get your flu vaccine yet? Make that your mission for today.
Did you say mission? Let's do this. With the flu season coming up, we all have to help protect ourselves by getting the flu vaccine. If you're over 65 like me, you gotta even be more careful. Look out! Our immune system may not be as strong as it used to be, so we have to do everything we can to keep the flu from catching up with us. Educating yourself about your flu vaccine options is important. It's also really easy. So ask about your vaccine options, because if you're a tough guy like me, you may need a tough vaccine. The flu can aggravate other conditions, so make it your mission to get the right flu shot for your age.
Lee, is that you? Did you complete your mission?
Oh, you mean the flu shot? No sweat. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
Washington County Prosecutor Kevin Rings was a surprise witness Thursday, taking the stand to begin the fourth day of his trial for coercion and sexual imposition charges. The day ended with closing arguments and the jury beginning deliberation. Jurors spent approximately an hour picking a foreman, then recessed until this morning to continue deliberation.
And police say a 14-year-old girl has been fatally shot in Ohio. The Canton police say the Canton Fire Department, responding to a report of an unconscious person around 4 a.m. Saturday, found the girl in an alley. Authorities say she had been shot in the head. The repository in Canton reports that Harvey Campbell, an investigator with the Stark County Coroner's Office, said the girl was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say the teen has been identified as Sylvia McGee, an 8th grade student in the Canton City School District in the Northeast Ohio City.
And law-abiding Ohioans aged 21 and older could legally carry hidden firearms without getting a permit under a proposal introduced by House Republicans and supported by GOP Governor Mike DeWine. Currently, 16 states allow that, but Ohioans who want to legally carry concealed firearms currently have to pass a background check, receive 8 hours of training, and get a permit. Republican Representatives Ron Hood of Asheville and Tom Brinkman of Cincinnati have tried repeatedly to change the law through so-called constitutional carry legislation that's failed to pass. The Fraternal Order of Police and Anti-Gun Violence activists oppose the idea. The bill would also would end a requirement that people carrying concealed weapons notify police of that if they're stopped by officers. Ohio already allows people to openly carry firearms without permits.
And Ohio's Republican Attorney General said Thursday he will file a court brief opposing a federal judge's ruling that declared the Affordable Care Act unconstitutional, potentially leaving nearly 2 million state residents with pre-existing medical conditions without medical insurance should the decision be upheld. Attorney General Dave Yost told the Associated Press that the U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor in December got it wrong when he struck down former President Barack Obama's signature health care law after Congress eliminated the individual mandate. The mandate required people without health insurance to pay fines. Democratic attorneys generals from 17 states appealed O'Connor's ruling in January at the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, where Yost said he plans next Monday to file a amicus brief in support of requiring insurers to provide coverage for those with pre-existing medical conditions. Both Yost and Ohio Republican Governor Mike DeWine said they are opposed to fining people who were uninsured. Yost said he spoke with DeWine, who also supported maintaining coverage for those with pre-existing conditions on Tuesday. DeWine spokesman Dan Dietrich said Thursday that should the Affordable Care Act ultimately be overturned, DeWine would ask state legislature to take steps to ensure that Ohioans with pre-existing conditions be able to obtain health insurance.
And coming up next, bridge construction, drug court, and severe weather.
We'll have these stories and more after this.
Hello. The severeness of that weather will be whether or not the temperature will continue to rise or once again drop over the weekend as it's done for the last 2 weeks. Find out if that's true when I come back for the 5-day forecast after the break.
Where are we?
We're at Marietta College.
This is where we live at Marietta College.
Tasha Wary, director of BB2C, was joined President Vicki Wood, Tony Hoffman, director of the Adult Technical Training at Career Center, and welcoming John Kerry, director of the Ohio Governor's Office of Appalachia, to the educational institutions Friday. The office is the state counterparts to the Federal Appalachian Regional Commission, which focuses funding in the most economically challenged 13-state region of the U.S. Kerry toured both the health science wing at the college and the college's engineering offerings, then debriefed with the partners.
The Washington State Community College Board of Trustees will hold its monthly meeting at 4 p.m. Monday in the community room of the main building. The First Unitarian Universalist Society Marietta will host an African drum workshop from 1 to 3 p.m. April 20th at 232 3rd Street in the Social Hall. Master drummer Lawrence Green will conduct the workshop. The fee is $10. Advance registration is required. This is the fourth in a series of monthly drum workshops at the church. And now we are going to move on to entertainment, and the award for entertainment news goes to...
Here's Landon Santini for a look at the Hollywood Minute.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, beginning our news in the world of entertainment today, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt are unfortunately no longer married. According to court documents obtained by CNN, Jolie and Pitt have been granted a dissolution in status only of their marriage. Jolie filed for divorce from Pitt, citing irreconcilable differences. In 2016, court documents filed at the time showed that the pair separated on September 15th of 2016, 2 years and 1 month after they were married in August of 2014, following a relationship of almost a decade and 6 children. Divorce is always a sad thing.
Oh, okay. I guess that's it. Thank you. Thank you for that, Landon. I was just really enthralled by the entertainment news, weren't you?
Very, very enthralled,
it was
especially
incredible.
by the film. Very relevant.
Absolutely. Now we're going to throw it back to Landon. He's going to tell us all about the upcoming weather.
Well, as I've said before, the last 2 weekends we've been experiencing some cold fronts, only to warm up again over this next work week, and that seems to be the case this time around too. We had a bit of quite a lot of precipitation and rain yesterday, and a good chunk of it is leaving our neck of the woods and going up towards the Great Lakes states and northern Canada. I mean southern Canada, northern America, southern Canada. That's a good thing to have a little bit of that spring weather for a good chunk of this week. And the temperatures, as you can see, are rising up a little bit. We're about in the range between the 80s and the 60s, about in the 70s. That's where we are in terms of the high. And in terms of the low temperatures, we're about in the middle point, just right area too, with low temperatures ranging in about 60. Now, if we take a look at the 5-day forecast, we'll see how the rest of our week is going to pan out. Tomorrow, we can see the temperatures rise again with an expected high of 78, low of 58, and mostly cloudy conditions. On Thursday, we take a massive spike with a high of 84, low of 62, and more partly cloudy conditions. So it's going to be a lot of clouds this week. But on Friday, towards the end of the week, we're going to take a sharp decline with a high of 63 and a low of 45 with some thunderstorms. No surprise there with the last several weeks to go by. And Saturday, we will have an expected high of 51, a low of 42, and more rain. And on Sunday, we'll have an expected high of 70, another sharp increase with a low of 52, and leftover rain in the morning from the weekend. So I have, if you've lived in the Mid-Ohio Valley for as long as I have, you know by now that the temperatures, especially during winter and the beginning of spring, are rarely, if ever, consistent. But the good news is the one season that fairly is consistent is summer. And we're looking forward to getting started with that in about a month or so. So while later on at the end of the newscast, I'll give you one last look at the weather as we say goodbye for you for the semester. But until then, back to you guys at the desk.
And thank you very much, Landon, for the look at the weather. And when we come back, we will join John Powers, who will give us a look at the world of sports.
Please keep staying with us. Please.
Cancer may be tough, but we are tougher. We are the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Our game-changing research has led to the belief that the cures for cancer are in our blood. We are the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Beating cancer is in our blood.
And welcome back, everybody. I'm a little more casual right now because I love sports, and joining us for sports is John Powers.
What's going on, John?
Oh, not too much. Marietta College baseball team swept their first doubleheader this Saturday during the annual Community Day. The games were respectively close, but the Pioneers pulled through by the end of each game. Opening against the Quakers, they won 8-7 and finished with 16-5 in the next game. Other news, Tiger Woods is coming back. After competing in the Masters on Sunday, he won his 15th major title, and it is riding it out and proving that he's not leaving anytime soon. Woods won 4 majors in the same year. No player in modern era has done this before. Bobby Jones is the only one to do so in 1930. Boston Marathon on Monday came to a peak between the men. The winner won by 2 seconds. Lauren Chirano of Kenya and Leisa Dezisa of Ethiopia were toe-to-toe until Toronto came out on top on the women's side. Warkenza de Graaf of Ethiopia gained the lead at the 12th mile and held it. She finished at 2:23:31. San Diego Padres have acquired right-hander Matt Wisler from the Cincinnati Reds in exchange for minor league righty Damar Lopez. The teams announced the deal Monday. Whistler was drafted by the Padres in the 7th round of the 2011 draft and was the top prospect. Was then traded to the Atlanta Braves for all-star closer Craig Kimbrell in 2015. Cincinnati acquired him for Adam Duvall last July.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. John, I guess this is not exactly the camera that I expected us to come out on, but but thank you for that. And now joining us is Landon, who's got one last look at the weather.
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, as I've been saying, we've had quite a bit of back and forth in terms of warm and cool temperatures. Hello, everyone. And it looks like that's going to be the same thing for this upcoming week. We're going to have a very sharp increase up to Thursday, and then like a very sharp decline down into the 60s and a little bit of the 50s with a lot more rain. So that looks like we're going to be getting more consistent spring temperatures into next week, which means that we're getting that much closer to summer, which I'm looking forward to that. And as you can see with Ethan right here, we're all excited for the end of the month for a very specific reason. Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Culmination of like 10 years worth of movies.
All of your favorite superheroes, the Hulk, Captain America, Jesus, you know, they are going to save the world from Thanos, and they are going to kick some butt. That is how they saved the world.
Jesus has returned to give us the good word.
Jesus beats Thanos. It's
Yeah.
like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. That's going to do it. This is actually my final broadcast as a student here at Marietta College. So,
and we are going to miss you, Ethan.
Yeah, I am very, very grateful for the time that I've had here. We've got some very talented people here. I know the studio is going to be in good hands when I leave. So thank you for allowing me to be the student manager for the past year. I have loved every second of it. But that will wrap it up for today's show. It was undoubtedly the greatest show that we've ever done.
Absolutely.
I don't think we'll ever repeat it
Can't top
ever
it.
again.
Absolutely.
Hello. So thank you for listening and watching. And be sure to tune in next semester when we have more great news for you. And hopefully we'll be a little more professional and a little more
Organized.
We're tired.
Yeah, we're done, I guess, because we're off camera. Bye.
Adios!
Did they pick that up?
Bon voyage and don't come back. No, please do come back next year. We need the ratings.